that schedules it?
Splash screen. I got.
Okay.
All right.
Well, guess what? We're now
Start the
late.
music.
And I blame you entirely. See, I do. That's the roles that we have this show. I do all the work. You get all the blame. Yeah. All right. Ready to go? So are we live right now? Can they hear us? Because I think they can hear us. Screw it, cue the music. Alright, either way. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, all two of you, this is the Locked and Loaded, where apparently I do all the work, he gets all the credit, and all the blame. So we've got an actual good. We're hoping we've got a good show lined up tonight, since I did all of the work again.
I mean, it's not my fault. I want to get paid.
Well, it is your fault that you want to get paid. All right, it is totally your fault. You can live without money, okay? I've
I don't know.
tried,
I've heard
and it's
boxes
been
aren't very
successful.
comfortable.
All right, what's first on the agenda?
Well, first up we have Merriam-Webster's top 10 words of the year for 2017, and the first one is feminism.
Yeah, feminism. I wonder why that is. So, let's see. Let's skip that first paragraph. Feminism spiked following news coverage of the Women's March on Washington, D.C. in January. Maybe because the vast majority of people following that realized that they were out of their fucking minds and wanted to know why.
Let's see. Word spiked again. Where were we? Fuck it.
You know what? We'll just follow you. We'll follow your lead. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Word spiked again when Kellyanne Conway said during an interview that she didn't consider herself a feminist. In this case, the definition of feminism was itself the subject of the news story, an invitation for many people to look up the word. So,
Breathe.
no.
Reading so fast.
So it's the word of the year because was it just
It's
the
it's it's
most
the word of the
Googled?
year simply because it was the most looked up online. It got the most hits online because so many people were trying to figure out what the hell feminism is compared to what the hell feminism is supposed to be. Because it's pretty damn ridiculous how different their actions are to their words. It's like feminism. We believe it's supposed to be about equality between the genders, but guess what? They're already fucking equal. I almost said quality. Stupid words and their meanings.
Quality, equal, same thing. Fuck dictionaries. Interest in the dictionary definition of feminism was also driven by entertainment this year. We saw increased lookups after the release of both Hulu's series The Handmaid's Tale and the film Wonder Woman.
Now, I can understand the film Wonder Woman, but what the hell was The Handmaid's Tale?
I haven't even.
I have
didn't even know that
never
was a
heard of
thing.
this show. Can someone explain it to me in the chat? Did anybody actually watch this Poison? I forget, the chat is so far behind us.
Right, I think there's a good 30-second delay or something.
We need to just do what the Saints did and freaking build our own freaking server so people can talk in that, and we can follow that chat.
Well, there's there is the Lesser Saints, but that's
There is that, but
that thing's more organized.
apparently not many people actually take a look at it. Moving on,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's simply one of the top 10, the top of the top 10, because of how many. Handmaid's Tale is based on a book by Margaret Atwood. That's descriptive. Moving on, it was just simply the top 10 because it was Googled so many times. I mean, imagine that. Scroll down, find out what the next word is.
Next we have complicit.
Complicit. That's a winner right there.
A little bit more. Complicit means helping to commit a crime or do wrong in some way. It comes from the Latin word meaning to fold together. The word has been used in connection with the Trump administration throughout the year, first regarding whether members of Trump's administration were complicit in the firing of James Comey, and later whether they were complicit in Russian disinformation campaigns meant to disrupt the 2016 election, which we still don't have any fucking proof of.
Mm-hmm.
Other politicians have used the word in an effort to distance themselves from the Trump administration.
Oh, I like this word. Recuse. 3 of 10 is recuse. Lookups of recuse spiked several times this year, and all the spikes were in reference to Attorney General Jeff Sessions. In January, Sessions said he would recuse himself from any investigations to the Department of Justice might undertake regarding Hillary Clinton, as he had made politically charged comments about her during her presidential campaign that led many to question his ability to be impartial. Well, I mean, who can be impartial when it comes to Hillary Clinton?
Honestly.
You either absolutely love her or you fucking hate her. And I am the latter of those two. I mean, can you blame people for wanting to understand why? What recuse means? I mean, is to disqualify oneself as judge in a particular case. Actual judges do it all the time. Number 4 out of 10. That's an interesting, and I think that has something to do with all the fucking drama going around about people saying white people lack empathy. What the hell is empathy?
Empathy means the ability to share another person's feelings and ultimately derives from the Greek word meaning emotional.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, this one's an old word.
They're all kind of old.
No, this wasn't old as in it's not used anymore. The next one.
Oh, the next one.
5 of 10.
Is it? Oh, dotard?
Yeah, dotard. Oh, no, it's dotard. You're right. It's pronounced dotard, as in from the deer.
A 35,000 increase in lookups from last year.
All because a freaking news agency in Korea used the fucking word.
see
The
here.
the word has an old-fashioned ring to it, and some journalists posited that the odd word choice could be attributed to the out of date English Korean dictionaries used in translating Un's comments.
Well, geez,
I wonder why.
have to wonder how out of date they are when the last operating system Kim Jong Un upgraded to was Windows 95.
Mm-hmm. Syzygy, 6 out of 10. What the fuck is Syzygy?
This
It's pronounced Syzygy.
fuck off. I don't.
We define Syzygy as the nearly straight line configuration of three celestial bodies, such as the sun, moon, and earth during a solar or lunar eclipse. Now, see, this one is actually I like that this one was in there because it shows people have an interest in that type of thing and they want to know what the word means. It's like syzygy, what's that? Oh, it's science.
Well, that's something I'd look up just because it's such a fucking bizarrely spelled word.
It is bizarrely it's bizarrely spelled and it's bizarrely misspelled all the damn time with people who actually freaking know what the word is. I didn't know what the word was until I read this.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? Is that even a word? How is that a word?
Saw a small spike at the beginning of December because of the supermoon. There was a supermoon?
It was a total body eclipse.
Why weren't we out praising Zero?
And the supermoon, isn't the supermoon when the moon is like 3 or 4 times as large because of the atmospheric conditions were just right?
I think so. I'm not big on astronomy. So onward to Euro. Not
Skip
gyro.
it. Everyone knows what a euro is.
I would hope so. You'd be shocked how many of my classmates mispronounce it.
It's anybody want to go get a gyro? What the fuck is a gyro? You know, a gyro. I just told you. What the fuck is a gyro?
They make these really good vegan gyros down the street. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Fuck! How the hell can you have a vegan gyro? How the hell how does that work? It doesn't taste right without the actual blood of the innocent in it.
That's the key ingredient. Federalism.
Yeah, exactly. Federalism. Oh, this is socialism or federalism. Huh. That's not necessarily true.
Let's see, 500% increase over.
Like, look at that little quote down there. Here's the choice for America: socialism or federalism when it comes to your health care. How about capitalism?
How about neither?
And I don't like either of these choices. Hurricane. If you don't know what a hurricane is and you live...
Why is this on here?
Because it was looked up. Because it was looked up. And then gaff.
Yeah, that sounds like a relatively dated word. I don't think I hear anyone use it now.
I've never used it myself. Well, there was this mindlessly stupid one that we wanted to talk about. Let's move on to the next one so that people don't get bored and leave. Oh, too late.
God damn it.
All right, what's the next one? It wasn't this was the stupid one, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. This one could be even stupider. Fuck off, ads. Fuck off time. Go away.
Oh.
I don't... Fuck off.
You didn't prepare beforehand?
It's not letting me close the damn... Jesus Christ.
Alright, well, I'll start then.
Come on.
Cow escapes live nativity scene twice and wanders the streets of Philadelphia. And it's got a video of it. A cow in Philadelphia apparently wanted to be away from the manger as it escaped twice Thursday morning from a church's live nativity scene. Why would you do this? Why would you have a live nativity scene? I mean, was there a lady and an infant and a dude with a really bushy beard there as well, John? Stormy, a 7-year-old brown and white Hereford?
Heifer.
Heifer. Are you sure? Because it's pronounced Hereford.
Oh.
I guess
I'm
that's
thinking
the.
of-
I
I'm
guess
thinking
that's
of
the
different-
breed of cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Brown and white Hereford was back munching hay at Old First Reformed Church of Christ by 7:15 a.m. after 2 sets of adventures on snowy downtown streets. How the hell it escaped the first time? You couldn't set it up so it couldn't escape the second time. It's not that hard. It's called a rope.
you just tie it in one
Excuse me.
place. Oh, God,
Police
what the-
first got reports of a cow near an Interstate 95 on-ramp around 2 a.m. Thursday. One of the state police troopers who responded has a cattle ranch in New Jersey and knew how to handle the situation. I bet. Officers put a rope on the cow and walked her to a nearby parking lot with police vehicles helping shepherd Stormy back to church. Some lanes of the highway had to be shut down as the cow was wrangled.
Why would you just
Why would they do this?
why would you
Why-
just leave
How
the
did
cow?
how would someone in Philadelphia? Have you ever been to Philadelphia?
I haven't.
It is not a very friendly place for animals. Why
My
would
soft
someone in
skin secret?
Philadelphia think it was
Pawns
a good idea
Towelettes.
to
They're the-
have a live nativity scene? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, why would you just leave it there? Because if it's wandering around at fucking 2 in the morning,
Well, apparently she took off again around 6 a.m.
7:15 to
Despite
2 in the
Reverend Michael Caine's best efforts to stop the 1,500-pound animal. How are you going to stop a 1,500-pound animal if it really wants to leave?
Fucking hell.
This time it was on the 4th floor of a parking garage.
God damn it.
And apparently she was fired because by late morning, it didn't give an exact time, she was loaded onto a trailer and back to her farm.
Fucking Christ. Let's see.
How did someone think this was a good idea?
Hey, you know what? Let's get a live nativity scene complete with actual animals and people, and let's just set it up and just leave it up. It's like, no, god damn it.
God damn it, indeed. We're down to one person viewing. This person is a diehard because we're fucking awful.
I think I know who it is too.
Yeah,
God
it's the
damn.
person who promised to be here, I think.
Fucking fuck you, Andy. Hashtag fuck you, Andy. First it was Amos and now this.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, I think we can safely move on from this
Time,
one.
What the fuck is wrong with your... Just opened up like 4 of the same ad and additional tabs. What the fuck's
What
wrong
is wrong with your
site?
browser? It's not the site, it's your browser.
No, it's specifically... I had to enable every script on the time site, otherwise it wasn't going to work. And that apparently includes fucking shoe ads. Moving on. We're on to... Oh,
That's
the
a nice
videos.
hashtag. That's a very nice hashtag. I like that. In
Get
the
it-
chat. Fuck
Get
you,
it
Rim.
trending.
Fuck you, Andy. Yes. I don't know. I don't really blame the people who took off. It's not like this was important to us as our third stream where we finally got some kind of format down. We just need more than one person working on the. We just need to get more than one person working on the content because apparently I can't do funny. Well, I
Apparently
can do
I'm-
funny, but I can't do 20 minutes of funny.
I'm only funny when I'm drunk. Pick the best
Yeah,
night to
well,
go
get
cool.
working on it. Get to working on it. All right. So this is where we start getting into the more serious topics.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah. Moving on to.
I think everybody will actually understand what topic we're gonna be covering as soon as they see this.
Yeah. This should be pretty self-evident.
I know a lot of you might be aware of all the drama that's going on in the Magic the Gathering community in regards to Jeremy of Unsleeved Media being accused of harassment by Magic the Gathering cosplayer Christine Spankle. Christine Spankle announced that she was quitting the Magic the Gathering cosplay community due to what she claimed to be 2 years of harassment from Jeremy of Unsleeved Media. This lit a bit of a dumpster fire in the community, and it started a little bit of a Me Too campaign with other people coming forward with further allegations of apparent harassment from Jeremy. At the same time, they were all encouraging harassment towards Jeremy. But there's something important in this situation that is extremely groundbreaking. Something that everyone should probably have looked into before they jumped on the bandwagon. It was all a big fucking lie.
And that is the most important aspect of it. Should have thought that through, Dank. Should have thought it through. All right. Well, so we all are aware of of the shit that was going on in Magic the Gathering community over the past couple of weeks. Buck, did you turn your mic up yet?
How's this?
Apparently they can't. There you go. Yeah, you're
If I just
fucking loud.
do that should work.
Let me go ahead and just adjust your volume in Discord so that you're not so fucking loud. In my ear, at least.
Had to
There we go.
buff my
So,
gain.
a little bit of backstory. What was it? 2-3 weeks ago, this cosplayer who did a whole lot of cosplay for Magic the Gathering didn't actually play the game per se. Just shook her ass on Instagram and got money for it through Patreon. And Unsleeved Media or The Quartering, he's got those two, and probably a couple other channels that I'm not really tracking because I only follow him on The Quartering. He criticized her for it. He said, and I'll let y'all actually, if you're really interested in what exactly he said, he's made a number of videos about this over the past couple of weeks. But she said that he had been harassing her for like 2 years. He made 3 comments about her. One was on a video, and 2 or 3. Well, he probably made 3 more than 3 comments. But the fact is he did not harass her for 2 solid years. It didn't happen. They were unable to prove it. Just completely unable to prove it. But that didn't stop the Wizards of the Coast from banning him. They completely banned him. They banned him for his livelihood. He made almost all of his money off of covering events and doing live streams and doing unveilings of new cards and things like that. But that leads us to the next aspect of this topic. What is he doing about it?
Anybody featured on Bully Busters Weekly.
Did you go to the right point?
It didn't take me right to that point.
Oh, well, geez, that's stupid.
Should be right about here.
What I want to start with is let's go. Let's see. So if disclaimer,
there we go.
Anybody featured on
Stop
Bully
controlling what I'm
Busters
controlling it.
I didn't do
Weekly.
anything, man.
Do not contact them.
not touching
That's
it.
what they want. Okay.
Okay, pause
So,
it.
basically, what he's saying in this video is he's collecting harassment. He's specifically collecting harassment that falls under the guidelines of the Wizards of the Coast and reporting these people for harassment. And I'll say this first. He is well within his rights to do it. He's been royally fucked. But I'm not sure that I would go with this method. I'm really not sure, because I don't think it's going to really matter too much to the Wizards of the Coast. Roll the video a little bit more.
What I want to start with is, let's go, let's see. So if we go in, you'll see when you go into the folder, I've got a couple of screenshots in each folder, and then a nice link to the actual tweets, which you should archive. Okay. I should have archived these. So make it real easy on those investigators, because we don't want them to get too buried. But we see tweets in here that...
So as you can see, he's actually put a lot of planning into this. He's put a lot of thought into it. People are going to have a lot of information on a lot of people because of this. And I'm really hoping that it doesn't somehow turn into doxing. Because it's a slippery slope when it comes to revenge. You start out trying to do just reporting people and their accounts for harassment, and it starts turning into, oh, I found somebody's address. Slip that into this little vault over here for future keeping. So, while what are your thoughts on this, Buck? What do you think?
Well, I mean, he's walking a very fine line. I can see why he's doing it, but I don't really, like you were saying, I don't agree with it. It's not.
No, I mean, I know exactly why he's doing it. He's fucking pissed. He's absolutely fucking pissed.
I'll think about how many.
Well, not only did they ban his account, they also stole like $500 or $600 worth of digital merchandise from him, from his Magic the Gathering collection. They didn't let him sell it to other players or anything like that, so he could actually maybe make some of that money back. They just confiscated it. They stole it from him. Now, I'm certain that there's some kind of clause in the user agreement before you can actually get any of these digital cards or content, but it still comes down to they took several $100s worth of merchandise from him in the process. He can't even go to these events anymore. He can't show his face at events. It's not even that he can't participate in the events. He can't even freaking spectate anymore. So he's pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you be pissed?
I sure as hell fucking would. Just for a fucking opinion,
just for a criticism, and not even like a blatantly misogynistic criticism.
This is well, this whole Magic Gate thing is like kind of what well, it's basically Gamergate all over again. I hate using that.
See, I think I definitely prefer Dankula's hashtag for it, Thoughtgate. It's got a little bit. It's just a little bit better than Magic Gate, because Magic Gate has some kind of mystic and fantastical vibe to it, where Thoughtgate, it's about a hoe.
And
but now, again though, while I believe he's justified in it, I would never do something like this. Unless someone went after my family, I would never actually plot some kind of revenge, at least this elaborate about it, because it goes against my personal ethics. So while I can understand him doing this, and I can understand that he's fully within his rights and he's fully justified to do it, I would disagree with the methods and the tactics that he's going about doing it, because I don't believe there are, in the whole concept of there are no bad tactics, only bad targets. I believe there are tactics that are just as bad as targets are bad.
Yeah, it's the difference between how do I want to phrase this? Burning someone's house down and slashing their tires. It's
even more. It's the difference between bombing a hospital because there are civilians in it, knowing that there are civilians in it just to get one guy who's hiding in said hospital. You know, that's
Yeah.
bad tactics and bad targets.
Yeah, two things can be true at once.
And it's one of those very frustrating things. Yeah, I guess you can listen a little bit more to this video.
Yeah.
Man,
Here's an employee, by the way. This is an employee of Wizards of the Coast, by the way, saying the man in question systematically attacks the most prominent women in Magic the Gathering. His campaigns, Magic MTG headquarters according. Here he's trying to ask his followers to mass flag my Patreon account. Now that feels like targeted harassment. Here's another tweet. Retweet if you'd like Patreon to honor its policies and defund this man's hate. And of course, it's me. This definitely makes me feel unsafe. Oh, and he actually published a step-by-step guide on how to flag my Patreon. Now, this, in my opinion, feels illegal.
well, now we have to actually get into some of the things that he's actually just saying.
Yeah.
Feels. This
Isn't-
feels like harassment. This feels like it's illegal. This feels like targeted harassment. No. Jeremy. No. It's Jeremy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Jeremy. He's
Okay. There's somebody in my class named Jeremy. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't throwing that name out. But seriously, no. Don't give in to their tactics. Don't give in to the feels. Documented evidence. Concrete. Beyond shadow of the doubt. Treat this like a criminal court case. Make sure you have evidence that is just so concrete they have no wiggle room to get out of it.
I'm looking at some of the
And
comments.
and the reason I'm saying this is A, facts over feelings, buddy, for one, and B, they banned him because of Pepe.
Oh, Christ.
They used him tweeting a Pepe meme and tweeting a picture of someone wearing a Pepe shirt and saying that he's got one. That's what they used as evidence to ban him.
Looking at some of the comments in another window, and I think the most rated one is rules for radicals: hold your enemies to their own standards. Well, that's not always the best tactic, especially in this case, because in this case the Thought and her entourage, okay, they got him banned, but it makes more sense to me to take the high road and just roll with it.
No, I mean, it's not even so much the high road. It's the don't compromise your ethics.
That's a better way.
And I think that's the overarching theme with this particular topic. Don't compromise your ethics. If anything's going to make you regret anything, when there are no real consequences to what you did, it's compromising your own ethics. So if you are going to actually go through and you're going to make sure that people are held to the same standards that you're being held to, don't go off of feels. Thought. You saw that in the comments at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's one of the reasons why I love Dankula so much. Is he just has a gift for it. You know, I don't know how he does it. He just has it. But it's still, just don't compromise your ethics, people. If you learn anything from this situation, if you disagree with what Jeremy is doing or how he's doing it, just just remember that he's still within his rights to do what he's doing. If it happens to come back to bite him on the ass, then it happens to come back and bite him on the ass.
Yeah.
Just I would not have done it the way he's doing it now. I don't know how I would have done it, which is why I'm not saying giving him another option, but questions, comments, concerns, Sergeant Buck?
I think
I feel like I've been talking the most.
You're taking the words right out of my mouth.
I don't know. I mean, you got any expanded views or ideas on it?
I mean, not really anything that's already been said. Just what he's doing here is dangerously close to
what's been going on in the Skeptic Community War, isn't it? The very thing that's going on right now that's pissing me off, because it's going on right now during a stream that we've had scheduled for nigh on 2 weeks. But then again, we're nobody, so they don't give shit.
God damn it, Andy. Okay, what are we doing next here? Or do I want to keep watching?
I don't know. It's up to you at this point.
Oh.
We could skip ahead to another part of the video, though.
Sure, you got a timestamp?
Timestamp?
Yeah. Or, well, hell, you got control, so you can just...
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. All right, let's take a look here.
We're not
Let's
using
go
Babel
ahead.
anymore.
Yeah, let's go ahead and skip to there.
To continue to harass me, even after blocking him, this is a man obsessed. And luckily, for my fellow bully busters, here we have... Whoops. A little early on that Daniel Fournier.
It's an interesting term he uses, bully busters. It sounds exactly like the blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. What the fuck? Sounds like
I didn't say it.
Sounds like a fucking social justice ideologue to me. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not saying he is,
and
but
I
sort of
think that
language,
might be.
It's like, wait a minute here.
Yeah, and I think that might be one of the reasons why this leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. It's like everything that he's doing right now just seems like what a social justice group would do.
Here we have, I don't know, a couple, maybe 100 screenshots of his obsession, his constant harassing. This is a man that has a podcast about Commander. He must have a DCI number. I mean, maybe he owns a store. I'm not totally sure. But certainly what we have here is targeted harassment. So after this video, I'm going to report him as well. I mean, this is... Jeremy calling out for Jeremy endorsing anti-Semitism, so much, so many. I really don't know what else to say.
I knew the accusations were bad. I didn't know they were that fucking bad.
Oh, they were bad.
God damn.
He was doxxed too. Someone published a picture of a map with his house on it, with directions right to it. It was bad.
Fucking shit.
So like I said, he is well within his rights to do this, but it doesn't mean I would do the same thing. I think I might keep what I do private.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna try and do the same. Hence why I'm using this stupid little avatar and not my face. That, and I'm too cheap for a fucking webcam.
Oh well. I'm just butt ugly.
I mean, hey, you got married before I did, so that's speaking for something.
Other than this man is clearly bullying me. So Phil DeLuca, I will be reporting you as well. And then let's see who else is starring in this week's Bully Busters, episode 1.
Did I mention that he's going to be doing episode a week and picking like 3 or 4 people to report?
Okay, that's.
Yeah, this is not a one-time thing. He's going to be doing this over the next 6 weeks, dude.
Well, that's. I think we've just crossed the line of ethics. Let's say.
Like I
That's gonna
said,
be yeah.
he's fucking pissed.
That's trying to wrap my head around that. That's why would you do that? It's like let's just invent a game show where you have to guess. There's 6 people, and I don't fucking know. I had a thought. It's gone now.
Where you took 6 people out of the hat to get completely fucked over.
Yeah.
I mean, they might deserve it, but they're
That's
still
right.
getting completely fucked over.
Contestant number 1. Your address
I
is
choose
this.
you.
Now all of America knows.
See, yeah, and that's what I'm afraid it might turn into. I mean, he's pissed. He's pissed to the point where he might actually do something like that. I mean, I'd like to think better of him, but I'm seeing all the doxing bullshit that's been flying around for the past couple of days. I don't know what people are capable of.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things that I just have to keep telling myself is that I don't know people. Like, I think I've got a pretty good trace on you, or else I wouldn't be doing these shows with you. I'm still very happy that you've brought me on here and given me a platform to speak and all that. But the truth is that you and I don't actually know each other,
Yeah.
and I sure as hell don't know Jeremy. I've never even spoken to the guy.
I've hardly even watched any of his stuff, so. Because I used to be big on Magic back when I was in high school, and then things just kind of dropped off from there. So to see this crop up, it's like, what? Really?
Yeah, I never really got into the card game when I was in high school. It was like
Oh.
I was always the kid just hanging out, watching people battle each other, and like, this is dumb.
Yeah. And
Why are you guys doing this?
I can remember my friend and I. We would like pool a bunch of money. We're talking like $400 to buy an entire set, and then it just did. I mean, I ran out of money at some point, but then I just got bored with the game.
Well, half of the time they would be halfway through the match, and it would either be time for class, or I would be so bored I would look around, find some random hot chick, and be like, I'm gonna go talk to her. I'm a complete dweeb, but I'm gonna go talk to her because it's more productive than sitting here watching you guys be nerds.
Yeah, I tried.
More
to pick
often than not, something good came out of that.
I tried to pick it back up when I went to community college, and by that time the rules had changed so fucking much. It's just like I don't even know what half of these do anymore. And you're like, you have that? That card's like really old. That's rare. How did you get that?
I've had it for
I
years.
found it. I fucking found it. Oh, goddamn. Now I feel old.
Yeah, you feel old. God, I was just thinking about this. This was all happening like 15, 16 years ago when I was shit go on.
Yeah.
I feel old.
What really scares me is when I see someone who I went to high school with and they have a kid. It's like, shit.
Yeah, that doesn't scare me, actually. It doesn't scare me because I've been married twice, so
Okay.
yeah. Once you have a kid of your own, other people having kids doesn't scare you at all.
Yeah, that's probably it. And I kind of
So.
think that 24 is a little too. 24, 25 is a little early, but that's me.
Well, I know people who have kids and they were 19, almost 20 when they had the kids.
Yeah, that. That's always a weird thing to think about.
Still, I just remember when the first card game that I think I remember ever being introduced to, it was either Pokemon when they were still called Pocket Monsters,
Mm-hmm.
or Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not sure which.
I think I'm one of the few people on the planet that knows how to play the fucking Pokemon card game.
It's not that hard. It's exactly the same as when you're playing the video game, except you draw stuff from a deck and you've got extra things.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Moving off of games. Let's go see what kind of stupidity Jeremy's going to be doing here.
We have
I'm going to finish this vid.
Daniel Fournier. This man is a pro player in Canada. If you look at his timeline, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's see. I was on the fence about T-Weed until I read this shit. It looks mildly harmless at first, but he's basically a summary of a misogynistic motivations behind Gamergate style stuff. Ooh, he's bringing in Gamergate. Here's another guy that might appear on an episode of Bully Busters. To quote Jeremy, I spoke with a bunch of lawyers. They seem uneducated. Yeah, what I meant was they were uneducated on online issues, but you can put it that way. Let's see. Buddy, there are no pitchforks accidentally saying he's once apologizing. There's DCI bans for targeted harassment. Okay, well, all right, well, okay. All right, he's talking about me there. Reading these people jump through these hoops and all lie to call Sprankle an abuser is the most fucking infuriating thing in the universe. Interesting. It's amazing how HQ can brazenly lie about the shit when willfully ignorant followers just eat up. Ooh, he's calling you all ignorant. That's curious. And again, this man has probably tweeted at me or about me, I don't know, a couple hundred times. Well, it looks like based on this article, that's not necessarily related to me. Apparently, slurs. Okay. For the record, I don't think he's a bad person. Well, that's nice.
He's Twitter.
Oh, here he goes to me. My beard gets more embarrassing every video.
Yeah, your beard game's kind of weak, bro. You got bald patches. Just saying.
Doesn't have a very good
Sergeant
shape.
Buck.
I mean,
there you are.
I can't even get a good beard going. I look like a fucking autistic Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, this I have to see.
It doesn't come in on the sides. I just get the puffy goatee, and a shitty looking mustache. I'm not happy with it.
Man, dude. Until I was like 27, 28, I had this bald patch like right in the center of my chin.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the front of my chin, but back towards where my neck is. And it bugged the crap out of me so bad. Now I have hair growing on my Adam's apple, and that bugs me now.
Yeah, with my skin always drying out, my chin is always itching, and I gotta having this tuft on my chin. It's like, what the fuck is that? That's not skin.
Yeah, no, it's like, holy crap. Have you ever freaking like cut your neck shaving right on your Adam's apple? That's not fun.
No, I haven't.
It's not fun because every single time you swallow, that Adam's apple moves up and down underneath that cut, and it's very unpleasant.
Oh, I don't even want to fucking imagine that. Jesus Christ.
Ugh. I hate it so much. I don't even shave with a blade anymore because I hate it so much. I get ingrown hairs too because I can't shave with the grain. It doesn't get it all.
Yeah.
I have to shave against the grain. So I'm very prone to getting ingrown hairs all the damn time. So I just don't bother. Even with the freaking clippers, I sometimes get ingrown hairs.
Yeah, I think I use an electric shaver because I'm a pussy. And it always says to go with the grain, but then I always end up with like a bunch of straggly shit that just looks
basically.
looks awful.
And using a blade, I'll I'll run the blade over a spot like 8-9 times with the grain, and the hair is still there. The hair is still there.
Son of a bitch.
It's like Shia LaBeouf and he will not divide us. It just won't go away.
Oh.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. Let's move on to the next segment, if you will. And this one's actually kind of a brand new one. This one's kind of a fun one. I mean, I like to call this segment the tinfoil hat.
All right. So I'm sure some of you have seen the whole thing about the CDC being handed a list of forbidden words. Now this had me really, really curious. So let's take a look. The Trump administration is prohibiting officials at the nation's top public health agency from using a list of 7 words or phrases, including fetus and transgender, in official documents being prepared for next year's budget. And I had to wonder, why? Oh, shit. There we go. Why? Just why?
Yeah. Why is he doing this?
It doesn't seem rational to ban any word for
I
any
mean,
reason.
at first, you really have to start tinfoil hatting it to really start thinking up good reasons as to why to do this. But I'll let you continue.
All right. Sorry. Policy analysts at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta were told of the list of forbidden words at a meeting with senior CDC officials who oversee the budget, according to an analyst who took part in the 90-minute briefing. That's a really long sentence.
Yeah, some people don't need to breathe.
The forbidden words are vulnerable, entitlement, diversity, transgender, fetus, evidence-based, and science-based.
All of which seem to be some kind of identity politics charged buzzword.
Let's just take the last two to its logical conclusion and say that we can't use the evidence-based and science-based anymore. How do we prove anything then?
No. It's just the phrase. They gave you continue reading.
Okay.
Continue reading.
In some instances, the analysts were given alternative phrases. Instead of science-based or evidence-based, the suggested phrase is CDC bases its recommendations on science in consideration with community standards and wishes.
Boom.
What?
So it's not so much they can't use science or they can't use evidence. It's that we want you to explain it.
Science in consideration with community standards.
I think
and
Jeff
wishes.
actually said it. Jeff said it in his video best. What community?
Yeah. What community? Where?
I'm going to go ahead and tinfoil hat it and say the scientific community. Let's just go with that. Let's go with that. The scientific community standards and wishes. I don't know why wishes are in there. I think it should just be the standards.
Does this community wish for only one kind of science?
Either way, I mean, I can if you really start unpacking everything, you really start to understand that every single one of the words that were mentioned here, they have some kind of identity politics charged to them, or they're incredibly clinical in nature. So, like, let's start with the clinical words. So one of the words that was in there is fetus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this is not interfacility documents. These are not documents that are only within the facility.
Right, this would be for between departments, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. If it were between departments, if it were between from scientist to scientist, then yeah, then I would seriously be having issues if this whole thing were true. But because it's from scientist to not scientist, that's when you start understanding why some of these words could have potentially been taken out. Because not all non-scientists understand what a fetus is. It forces people to describe or define what a fetus is. A human child in gestation for X amount of weeks. That's not the exact quote from the medical dictionary. I looked it up at one point just to figure it out for myself. But it's forcing scientists to explain to non-scientists what the fuck they're doing. In a way that the non-scientists may actually understand and think, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I actually feel like I'm accomplishing something now. And Poveris, the reason why this is called tinfoil hat is because it's fake. This was already tweeted out by the CDC that we did not receive such a fucking list. The Washington Post got some bad information. Blah blah blah. There's no ban on words.
My inner writer's just looking at these.
So this is really just more of a thought experiment type thing. I don't know. I keep using that word. I don't know. We're just tinfoil hatting it. We're trying to figure out in what situation this would make sense to do, and why the Trump administration would think to do this if they actually had done it.
Yeah. So, okay, where was I? Okay. The Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees the CDC, will continue to use the best scientific evidence available to improve the health of all Americans, HHS spokesman Matt Lloyd told the Washington Post. HHS also strongly encourages the use of outcome and evidence data in program evaluations and budget decisions. Oh, okay.
So yeah, this list of words was supposed to be... Yeah, it was supposed to be intended for just the budget documents. And for budget decisions. Decisions that are actually made by other people. People who don't necessarily understand. People who might actually have politics influencing their decisions. Which is where it comes in with some of the other words. They're politically charged. Transgender. Transgender is completely and utterly politically charged, no matter who's fucking using it at this point. Yeah. And depending on what side of the issue you're on, if you're trying to decide something in the budget, the second you hear transgender, all other words after that may as well be wah 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 wah, like the freaking adults from the Peanut cartoons. They've already made up their fucking mind. Either give the transgenders money or don't give the transgenders money. It's why I disagree with freaking identity politics in the first place. Things are just... These types of decisions shouldn't even have politics brought into it in the first place.
I'm sitting here looking at these words and going, okay, if it's for... Okay, so these are budget documents.
Yes.
None of these words have anything to do with a budget, or maybe they could, but it's... If
all right, so when
you're...
Here's what it is, all right? So when the CDC brings their budget to the budget people, they're explaining what the research is and why it's important.
Right.
And in order to explain the research, what it is and why it's important, they have to actually explain what the research is. So say they're researching mental health issues in transgenders.
Okay,
right?
I'm with you.
Or say they're researching how diversity in communities affect people's health, and or if diverse communities have some kind of stand by a second.
Sure.
Sorry, my microphone was not working properly. They have to, in order to get funding for for a specific project or for specific experiments or a specific study, they have to explain why the study is important. And if you're using words that have a political charge to them, to or from, it can instantly decide if you're going to get that budget or not. So say you've got someone who's really, really into feminism and they're completely for helping the transgenders and whatnot. All they need to hear is that transgender, and they'll automatically say, give them money.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
In
And
some
then
cases,
it's the same, and it's the same. Well, we're not talking about TERFs here. And it's the same thing going backwards. You have someone who's on the conservative side who, like deep conservative, like
Right. We're
transgenders don't deserve anything, whatever, and they exist. They exist in politics. They exist in the government, but
Mm-hmm.
they hear that word and they automatically think, don't give them money. They don't deserve any money. And it's bullshit. It's like these are people first. And people deserve to be treated and thought of as people first. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are real people with real fucking problems affecting them. And they might be a very small portion of the population, but they still it's very prevalent in this small portion of the population.
Right.
And there are other ways to explain that someone is a transgender without actually using the word transgender, because at this point it's a fucking buzzword to begin with.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that can be applied to just about every single word in this list. Some of them that I saw are just a little silly. I think that science-based and evidence-based, taking those words out, it's silly. It's silly.
It's petty.
And there's no reason to do that. I mean, you can make the argument, just like Jeff said, you can make the argument, well, what science are you basing it off of? What evidence are you basing it off of? You can make the argument that says, hey, provide citations.
Yeah.
I mean, I made that argument myself to some of the people that I was talking to yesterday when I decided to use this topic for the stream. It's like, it's forcing them to use citations. What evidence are we using? What science are we basing our plans, our hypothesis on? Why are we doing it the way that we're doing it?
Well, and another thing to consider is any good writer would not simply be like, oh, our research for this budget is quote unquote science based and leave it at that. They would have to have citations, even without the list of supposedly banned words. The company. Okay, let's this isn't a company.
And also, Poveros is actually bringing up some good points too. It's like it's a sales tactic, but it could very well be exactly what that is. But it's also, you have to remember that there are rules for formatting when in documents between government organizations. Like, you see it in law all the time. You get rules of formatting that say that you can't use this word. You actually have to use the definition, cite it, and summarize it.
Right. That's different is not the right word, but that's like you said, it's a formative thing. It's a specific thing. There's legal jargon. There's
There's legal jargon. You have to use the legal definition in a legal document.
Yeah.
You cannot use common usage words in a legal document. Right? It doesn't work that way. kind of dumb that it doesn't work that way, but it doesn't work that way.
Well, when you're trying to be as specific as possible with your with what you are trying to convey, especially when it comes to legality, then yeah, you need that specificity. So, all right, moving on with the article. The question of how to address such issues as sexual orientation, gender identity, and abortion rights, all of which received significant visibility under the Obama administration, has surfaced repeatedly in federal agencies since President Trump took office. Several key departments, including HHS, as well as Justice, Education, and Housing and Urban Development, have changed some federal policies and how they collect government information about lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans. That's all one giant sentence. What the fuck? Tighten your language, for Christ's sake.
Wait, which,
The last snippet I just read, it's all one sentence.
Well,
God
no one ever
damn.
said they knew how to write.
Oh. Thank God I'm not a journalism major. I'm worse than that.
You're worse than that. You're a creative writing major.
But at least I know how to fucking use words.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. In March, for example, HHS dropped questions about sexual orientation and gender identity in 2 surveys of elderly people. That's an interesting target demographic.
I mean, okay. Why?
That too. Yeah, it's just like...
I mean, I think I'm quoting Jeff on this one. Why?
Yeah, that's your... I already know that, we already know that genderqueer people, let's say, are a very small part of the population. Limiting things just to the elderly, that's going to give you a very small sample size. Like, maybe, I'm going to guess maybe a couple hundred? I'm just totally throwing a number out. But that number alone, if you're basing any sort of survey on something that's just, in my mind, I'm thinking less than I don't know, maybe, words.
I'm
less
waiting.
than 2,500, let's say. That doesn't sound like a good number to base an average on.
No, it's not. When you're talking about populations of because the CDC works globally.
Yeah.
When you're talking global populations, 2,500 is not a good number to base this kind of shit on. It's just not. It's too small of a sample size.
Right, yeah, you can't. I mean, at some point, okay, the stat might work for that specific sample size if you can repeat it a certain number of times, but at some point, either extrapolating it or narrowing it down, the stat does not apply. What was I? HHS has also removed information about LGBT Americans from its website. The Department of Administration for Children and Families, we have one of those, for example, archived a page that outlined federal services that are available for LGBT people and their families, including how they can adopt and receive help if they are the victims of sex trafficking. How they can adopt and receive help?
Okay, so
Adopt.
this is
Are we talking?
this is including how they can adopt and receive help if they are victims of sex trafficking. That would have been a very good place to put an Oxford comma,
Yeah.
but either way, that's how that's supposed to be read. How they can adopt children and receive help if they are victims of sex trafficking. So whoever wrote this is a fucking moron anyway.
It's fucking painful to read. At the CDC, the meeting about the banned words was led by Allison Kelly, a career civil servant who is a senior leader in the agency's Office of Financial Resources, according to the CDC analyst, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because the person was not authorized to speak publicly. Kelly did not say why the words are being banned, according to the analyst, and told the group that she was merely relaying the information. Red flag. Red fucking flag.
They never said why.
If someone tells you to do something, unless you...
Other CDC officials confirmed the existence of a list. What other CDC officials?
Citation needed. It's likely that other parts of HHS are operating under the same guidelines regarding the use of these words, the analyst said. Well, I guess they don't really know which sectors it might be. At the CDC, several offices have responsibility for work that uses some of these words. Sentences. God damn it. The National Center for HIV/AIDS, Viral Hepatitis, STD, and TB Prevention is working on ways to prevent HIV among transgender people and reduce health disparities. Okay. Why not expand that to prevent HIV full stop? Whatever. The CDC's work on birth defects caused by the Zika virus includes research on the developing fetus. Why would you ban the word fetus? And then, oh my god.
Alright, so here's something that I think this is something where I actually think it makes, because it would actually force them to define what developmental stage the fetus is at.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
So, like, there are different developmental stages in the womb. And if I'm remembering my biology correctly, you start out with a zygote. And then you move into a cluster of cells that is still, I think, considered a zygote, because it doesn't have an actual form or shape yet. It's just a ball of cells. Right?
Right.
And then it starts taking form. Now, there are viruses and parasites that will start affecting the fetus at different stages of development. Like, say, when the spine starts forming, or when the heart starts forming, the lungs, the brain, toes start splitting apart, that sort of thing.
Okay, all right. The ban is related to the budget and supporting materials that are to be given to the CDC's partners and to Congress, the analyst said. The president's budget for 2019 is expected to be released in early February. Yada, yada, yada. That's pretty much just additional stuff. So, yeah, thank God this turned out to be false.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, I would be rightfully concerned.
If it were to turn out to be true, it wouldn't necessarily be the fact that they did this that angers me so much. With some of these words, I can fully understand why they would have done it, and I could, at least my interpretation, if they actually didn't say why, I can see reasons behind doing some of this stuff, and they're reasons that make sense to me, and they could very well be good reasons. But the simple fact that they thought they would have to do it, if my thoughts were to be the case, is the simple fact that they actually had to do this in order to take the politics out of it, or in order to just tell scientists, hey, fucking explain to the non-scientists what you're doing so that we can give you the money that you need to do, instead of just saying, science, ooh, here's your money. And that's one of those things, is like, scientists there are a lot of times where scientists just don't understand that what they're talking about may or may not warrant funding.
Right.
You know, I understand that it's the CDC and their research affects people, but when you start throwing in the identity politics into it and you start choosing one group of people over the other group of people because of these identity politics, that's when it starts getting into bullshit. You should base the needs and the funding off of the fact that they're people.
Right, and that's kind of what's...
You know, people first, and whatever freaking group of people they come into, never. You know, these are real people with real fucking problems, and they need this research in order to help them with these problems. And that's what this really that's really what just pissed me off the most about this. Like, I actually, when I first heard about this, I thought it was true. I fell victim to my own fucking rule. People are stupid. You know, they'll believe any fucking lie, whether they want it to be true or they're afraid it's true. You know where I got that from?
No, I don't know where you got that from.
You've never read Terry Goodkind?
There's a lot of books I haven't read.
Ah, you disappoint me.
I mean, I'm just about to finish some Dostoevsky and start on some Rand. But I think I'm reading the wrong kind of books.
Yeah. Wizard's First Rule. Look it up. You might fall in love with them. Either way. There we go. Someone read it. Yeah, Zed is the one who actually taught Richard that.
All right.
Either way, I follow those rules. A lot of the rules that are in those books, I follow them. Or I try to, at least. Because they actually make sense when you apply them to life.
Yeah. There was one rule that my professor used this past quarter for looking up information for a research project. It was pertaining to 14th century England, but that's beside the point. Her thing was, okay, if multiple sources say the same thing, you can assume it's true. It's like, hold on a minute. Because, like, with this, I remember looking up the band and seeing, like, 7 or 8 outlets putting out the same thing. Of course, it was, the same set of outlets that are always communicating with each other. Washington Post plus CNN plus yada-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's really hard for me to actually confirm that this was fake until I found the tweet itself. No, I don't think I saw a single article on it this morning.
I'm sorry, I was chatting with the chat.
How could you?
They're talking about my favorite book series.
Oh man, mine favorite series. I don't think I could name a favorite book series, just a favorite.
Hey, I can list off my top 3 favorite series right now.
Go for it.
Easily. First favorite series, Sword of Truth series, starting with Wizard's First Rule. Second favorite series is Dune. Frank Herbert Dune, not Brian Herbert Dune.
Right.
Frank Herbert Dune.
The original.
Mm-hmm. None of the books that came after Frank Herbert died were good. I mean, the trilogy that started the Dune universe, those were okay because both Frank and Brian worked on them before Frank died.
Yeah.
But everything after that, I know they're all based on the notes and the papers left behind by Frank Herbert, but they're not the same.
I can see that. I really tried to read the first book, and something about it, I just couldn't get into it. I need to go back and reread it now.
It's a good series. It's a very good series. I mean, what's really, really good about the Dune series is the faith of the oh, what the fuck are they called? It's been so long since I've actually read the books. The Fremen. Their faith is based on Islam. I shit you not. It's based on Islam.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's my second favorite series. And I lied. I lied. I can't really pick my third favorite series off the top of my head. Right now, it's actually up between two book series that I've been reading recently. They're pretty shitty books, but they're still awesome. Let me just pull up my Kindle and actually tell you what it is.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see here. I believe. There it is. That's the one. It's the Monster Hunter Chronicles by Larry Correia.
That rings a bell.
And then after that is a bunch of books by Jay Allen, the Crimson.
Jay Allen.
Oh, hey, cool. Jay Allen, the third book of Pork Wars.
Okay.
Anyways, Jay Allen did a whole bunch of different books. He's not a really well-known publisher, but he's got the Crimson Worlds. Was it pretty good? It kept me on the edge of my seat for a while. So it's sci-fi.
Okay.
It's one of those super hard to explain sci-fi. It's dime store paperback sci-fi.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
There was a series I picked up at a comic book convention called Legends of the Duskwalker, which is it's like post-economic apocalypse, where like everything was really high tech, and then some huge economic crash caused essentially a nuclear war or something like that. It's really
so basically
weird.
Like the dark age of technology.
Yeah, except technology doesn't work. So everyone's like running around it with, leather armor and bolt action rifles. It's like, I don't quite buy this. I don't even think I finished the first book. It just didn't really hook me.
Yeah, that's the thing with me. I'll read a book from start to finish, just to see if it'll hook me, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, I will swear by Roadside Picnic as a fantastic science fiction novella, but aside from that, I haven't read too many good sci-fi books. Ender's Game was all right.
The Ender's universe. Ender's Game was okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was the second or the third book where it was following the little one. What's his name?
That's a good question.
But it actually told his story and how he came in, how he was probably the better one to do what Ender had to do.
Okay.
Or at least from the perspective of the instructors. Ender's Shadow. Yes, Bean.
Oh, yeah.
That story was so much better than Ender's Game.
Yeah.
But the entire series is actually pretty good, and they start getting better when you get to later in the series.
That'll be another. God damn. That'll be another one to add to my list. So.
Well, either way.
Oh yeah, the geopolitical stuff in the Enders series. I don't want to say I didn't like it. It was it was really interesting to think about, but I never saw it tie in. Does it tie in with the the later books to Ender's military career, I didn't really see that connection. You just had Ender out here, and then what was his sister's name? Was it Petra?
Yeah. What, the sister's name? No, that wasn't.
She and
She and his brother.
yeah, started with like pamphlets, and then it moved up to a huge thing. And I never saw those two paths converge. It's just
Yeah, Valentine was the name.
That's right, yeah. All right, time check. We got 8:25.
Yeah, we managed to talk about all of our topics tonight under the time mark rather than over the.
Well,
I mean, I guess that's what happens when you have someone properly planning. Though the first two topics could have been better.
yeah, we burned through those pretty quick.
Yeah, we didn't really have much to say on those. The cow one was just for shits and grins because I thought it was stupid. It was stupid and funny. But right about now is actually when we would start talking about the viewer submissions that we requested that never got.
Yeah.
So, but it's all right because I know we don't have a whole people who actually watch us, be
moment.
stupid online. So,
I don't even know what it was.
I understand it. Maybe next one, but we can talk about something. We can figure something out. Does anybody in the chat have something to suggest?
Yeah,
Since y'all are the viewers,
we'll take them now. You can hit us up on Discord or leave a.
Please give us your submissions. It would be so helpful. I'm pleading here. This is my pleading voice.
Did you see that? I think you did see that Razorfist got unofficially banned from Twitter.
Yeah, you showed me that earlier.
Yeah. Could pull that up in case anyone hasn't seen it, because that's interesting. Eyes, ears, whatever. Potato. Fucking pizza just.
Yeah, I saw that, and he went over to Gab, and as soon as I saw that, you know what? I might as well go make an account myself right now.
Yeah, I've got one on there. I never touch it. I've got so many sites
Because one day I'm going to forget that I'm talking on Twitter and not on Discord, and I'm going to say something really, really fucked up, like I do in Discord all the time. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Oh, the disorientation manual. I saw Benjamin Boyd talking about that. Benjamin Boyce. That was That's like the epitome of vague wording. Let's see here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and read this disorientation manual. I never actually read the whole thing through by myself. I've only actually seen people go over it in videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember actually paying full attention to those videos. I think one of them was done by Independent Man.
Oh.
You ever watch him?
I kind of watch him on and off.
I watch just about every video he does.
He's puts up.
Some of it doesn't pertain to me at all.
Right.
But some of it is actually pretty good because he's got this. What's the woman that he sometimes has as a guest on his channel? I can't remember her name. She's an older woman, and she's a what's it called? A relationship counselor. And she did so many other things throughout her career as well.
I haven't seen any of those vids, so I can't think of her name.
Well, whenever she's had a couple of conversations with Peterson as well, Jordan Peterson,
Okay.
and she's really well known in the series, or not the series, but the fuck. In the community.
Yeah, I don't have a way to do an echo.
Have any way to do what?
To do an echo for community.
Oh. Yeah, you don't have one of those sound mixer boards yet, do you?
No.
Shit, I'm still working. I'm still using my
I'm pretty light on hardware. Let's see. Go to the present, please. Thank you. Okay.
Did you get the link yet?
That's what I'm looking for. And I am not seeing it. Would it be, who said they've got the link for the disorientation manual? That was, sorry, Zarloon, is that how you pronounce that?
Zarloon.
I did, so. Let's see here. I can just googly it. With my glorious mechanical keyboard. Oh, this is from 2014, apparently.
She posted it in She posted it in the Legend of Saints.
Oh. Duh.
And Mert sent it over the DM.
2013.
Cool. And I've got it open. Wow. They've got one of the things from freaking Animal Farm.
There's some hints there with that choice for cover art. All right. 99 pages. What the fuck? Oh man, this table of contents. Welcome, get involved. Decolonizing space, a matter of place. Shit to know about housing. Well,
That's who I thought it was. Zarloon is INS.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's who I thought it was.
That's right, yeah. Food. Steal now, pay never. What?
Contents, welcome, get involved. Decolonizing space, a matter of place. Shit to know about housing. Food, steal now, pay never. What the fuck?
Food
As
service.
you just said.
Flaming
TESC Food Service. The Flaming Eggplant Cafe. Sell.
Who the fuck?
17 is on cops. Tasers and pepper spray. How the cops got guns.
Is taser an acronym? Last I checked, I don't think taser's a fucking acronym.
I think it started out as one.
I'll have to look that up. Getting paid to smash the state.
Alright, you keep talking. I'm gonna go make another drink. This
Alright.
needs it.
So it's what's up with the administration? 24, getting paid to smash the state. 26, student group directory. Graffiti and murals at Evergreen State College. Diversity at Evergreen. Graduation speakers at Evergreen State College. Honorable alum.
Remember to speak slowly
People of
enough that we
color
can actually
project.
understand you, Mushmouth.
Nah. How to be an ally to queer people of color.
Bend over.
General LGBTQ resources. Transphobia.
It
What?
exists. Everyone has it.
You bone with it. White privilege and race, neo-Nazis and Washington State, a new mentality, consensual revolution, on the notion of polyamory. What the
Wait, read that one again?
on the notion of polyamory, but the one I'm stuck on, 49, riots, not diets.
What page was that?
Riots, not diets, number 49.
Let's read that one first.
I gotta see this shit.
This is a very long document. I'm surprised that they actually were able to put something together.
I think this is the one that Benjamin Boyce covered, but fuck it. This is.
I know.
This is gonna
I
be
know
good.
several people who actually covered it. I just can't remember who they are.
All right.
Riots, not diets. You want me to read or you want to read?
You can switch off. I'll let you start.
All right, I'll start. Do you have a body? Then read this article. By looking at some commonly socialized misconceptions and elaborate on why they're damaging and dangerous, we hope to address some of the difficulties surrounding fat bodies in radical spaces. What? Even in radical spaces, fat bodies are made invisible, and in order to create effective movements, it is important to look at all aspects of disenfranchisement. Wait, fat bodies are invisible? How does that work?
You just close
We
your
do
eyes.
want to clarify that this article was written by two cisgender female dames. Who uses that word anymore? So our perspective can only go so far. Well, I don't think you really have a perspective if you're writing this article. We can only speak from our experiences. No shit.
Definition of body positivity. Body positivity is working
How did I
towards
know?
acceptance, love, and appreciation of the different ways our bodies look, function, and feel, and challenging beauty standards that are sizist, fatphobic, transphobic, racist, ageist, oh my god, and ableist. We will promote body positivity for ourselves and encourage others to do the same. We will not make any comments, jokes, or statements that would put our bodies down or the bodies of other people. I mean,
What?
the second half of that paragraph, I can sort of agree with. There's a difference between being a dick and saying you really don't want a heart attack there, fam.
We will. Are you reading medical misconceptions right?
I can.
Hang on, no, I'm trying to figure out where you're reading so I could read it for myself. We will promote body positivity for ourselves and encourage others to do the same. At least they can format a sentence.
Yeah.
We will not make any comments, jokes, or statements that would put our bodies down or the bodies of other people. Okay.
All right. I'll take medical misconceptions. Let's put that in focus here.
No, I'll take medical misconceptions. You read the last two. Oh, no, you read the last one. All right, so
section.
we'll start with the top one. Fat people are too lazy and self-hating to be properly thin. Okay, so no. That's just how you want to... That's really just how you want to interpret people. I mean, there are people who think that, but...
That's inferring motive. So you're just assuming... Oh, God. Fucking fat isn't a choice any sane, healthy human should make. Most fat people aren't healthy, though. I wouldn't...
No, most people who are actually, like, as I and most other people see it, fat, they're not healthy. They're not.
Or,
Okay.
sorry.
Fat isn't a choice. Well, you read that.
And one underneath that one.
No, I didn't. Fat isn't a choice any sane, healthy human should make. Actually, that's 100% true.
Yeah. Our cultural, biological, and medical understanding of fat is reasonable, honest, and unbiased. What's the context there? The context for the supposed unbiased. That's where my mind goes first. It's like, I am not a fucking disease.
I am not a fucking disease. My body is not for you to judge as healthy or unhealthy. Fuck you. Yes, it is. To create standards that few can conform to? No. Actually, the vast majority of the world conform to these standards. As what health is. Health is not
it's not subjective.
Something that we conform to. Health is objective. It's not subjective. All right? There are small differences from body to body, but generally, if you're walking around and you're 300 pounds and it's not muscle, it's not healthy. It is not for others to judge why someone is fat. Actually, it is for a doctor to judge why someone. And it's dangerous to think that anybody's body is the way it is. They are psychologically unfit, unwell, incapable of making sound decisions. Fat doesn't equal lazy or crazy. Well, it definitely equals lazy in most cases. Does not equal crazy in all cases.
I mean, the only fat crazy person I can think of is Alex Jones, and that's just he's huffing his own super male vitality there.
I'm pretty sure that he's huffing something. Fat doesn't. I read that the American Medical Association obesity as a disease because it affects so many people and it is so detrimental to their overall health and being, which is incredibly harmful for people of all sizes. Maybe for their feelings, and especially for already vulnerable members of society. It is just another way to create an other out of fat people to dehumanize them.
For two people.
Well, when you can fit 3 people inside of you, you're not exactly one person anymore, are you? Or you're human. I screwed that insult up. We must refuse to accept the AMA's decision, and we must break down the stigmas it will build. All right, well, if you want to be fat and get a heart attack when you're 32, then you go for it. In fact, why don't you just eat yourself to fucking death? Sometimes doctors are great, and sometimes they are not. Shaming someone's body and hiding it in concern is the go-to response for doctors. No, that's their fucking job. Their job is to say, look, you're unhealthy. This is why you're unhealthy. This is what you need to not be unhealthy anymore. It's their job. It's what you pay for. Ugh.
Oh my god. This fucking...
where was I?
I almost went to this.
This can be harmful internally and also medically because they will ignore a real problem to focus on someone's weight. I'm sorry, but a lot of the time they go for the simple freaking solution first because the other solutions are, well, complicated. The way doctors and media blindly treat fat as unhealthy because it is often internalized, causing people to spend their lives dieting. Well, that's their fault, which is proven to rarely work because they don't actually follow the diet or undergo drastic surgery. How is having all of your fat sucked out of you drastic? Okay. That's kind of a stretch. Having having 90% of your body mass sucked out of you is a little drastic. But you know what? Beats running on a treadmill.
So doctors and the media are the reason people get surgery. No.
people get surgery because it's an instant gratification.
Oh, I almost went to this fucking school. I'm so happy I chose not to.
Ah, well. I'm on the East Coast.
Far, far away. If doctors really cared about our health and not just making us conform to society's standards, they would stop shaming. But they do care about your health.
Which is why they're telling you you're fat.
The healthiest thing a person can do is love themselves, whatever size they may be.
No, actually.
As long as loving yourself doesn't constitute 6 Whoppers and a Mega
Big Mac to wash it down. No, I understand having a healthy respect for yourself and actually liking you. But that's really just more about your ego and your personality. That's a psychological thing. If you love being fat, more power to you. But that doesn't make it doesn't make doctors wrong for telling you you're unhealthy.
I mean, like, look what fucking Gabriel Iglesias does. Or did, I should say. I think he lost a bunch of weight now.
Oh yeah, he lost a lot of weight. I think he's lost about 200 pounds since he started going on a diet.
But this says diets don't work.
But they do
But
work.
we do.
We realize that these people are stupid and don't listen to them. Moving on, size/beauty misconceptions. Fat is a flaw. You have such a pretty face, but no, that's actually pretty accurate. You have a pretty face, but you're fat.
But I don't want to.
And I'm really not interested in. I'm really not interested in playing freaking pick a fold with you. Inside every ugly fat person, a beautiful skinny person is just dying to get out. Well, yeah, considering you're suffocating them. Fatties can't just be. We should, can, and will want to change our bodies. Alright, so you know what? I actually agree with that line. If you don't want to change your body, I can't force you to. I think you should. I think you should change your body. You'll live healthier and you'll feel better about yourself on a regular basis. But if you feel great about the way you are, like, pick any BBW freaking black chick in the club who knows they freaking look good and they're going to get laid that night, then more power to you. Rock it. Be you. Own that fat because no one else wants it. All of these misconceptions are based on the idea that fat folks should feel ashamed of their bodies. It's more about the fact that we don't want your body in our space. And that they should want to change as a result. I mean, is it really so wrong that we want other people to live as long as we do? Oh god, apparently they mentioned fat sex on the next page.
Oh no. Oh, buckle up.
Let's find that one.
Alright. Let's see here. Whoop. Scroll too fast.
Fat sex misconceptions. Found it.
Okay,
And I'm not sure I want to read this. I'm going to let you...
Oh god.
I'm going to let you just read this.
Oh no. Let's get that okay. Fat people are unlovable. Fat folks are easy. Fat folks will have sex with you because it's their only option / do the freaky things because they are lonely, they have low self-esteem.
Okay, so yes. That is more often true than not true. The bigger the chick, the more likely is she's going to go down on you if you ask her. This is from experience. This is anecdotal. I understand, but this is my experience. And I'm kind of ashamed of it, but you know, that's the army.
Well, hey. Where was I? Oh, feeders are the only people who like fat folks. Are those the ones that like?
That get off on feeding people, yes.
Uh,
And no, that's not necessarily true. I knew a guy who he just loved body fat. Just loved it. Didn't necessarily like feeding it because, you know, it costs so much, but he loved it.
he just liked being a big guy.
It's like if you took him to a party as your wingman on a double date, you knew he was going to pick the fat one, and that's why you brought him.
Good man. Where's that?
Yeah, because that's what he liked. And according to him, they're just a little bit deeper, and I'm not afraid to say that he was kind of hung, you know, because so he kind of needed the deeper in order to actually reach in order to actually fit it all in. So you got some arguments to go with that. If you're a bigger guy in certain aspects, you might want to go for the little bit heftiers because they can take a little bit more.
And if you pass out, you can't crush a fat chick. You can crush a skinny chick.
No, here's the thing though. If they pass out, they can certainly crush you.
There's a bit about feeders. Fat is a fetish. To start off, stereotypes about
For
fat
some people, it is.
I've seen some things that I'm not proud of because I spend entirely too much time online.
Everybody who's here spends entirely too much time online.
True. What was I? To start off, stereotypes about fat people are often heterosexist. Whatever the fuck that means. Continuing the patriarchal
Someone
idea,
look up that word.
The patriarchal idea that female bodies exist for male enjoyment. The implication there is that only women can be fat. Maybe not directly.
No, you see, here's what you're forgetting. Here's what you're forgetting. This was definitely written by fat feminists. Men aren't allowed to be fat. Keep going.
These ideas that because we are fat, we have low self-esteem and must compensate for that are just more forms of social control.
Heterosexism is a system of attitudes, bias, and discrimination of favor of opposite sex sexuality and relationships.
Are they quoting who I think they're quoting?
Heterosexism is a system of attitudes, bias, and discrimination in favor of opposite sex sexuality and relationships. So I'm heterosexist.
I guess.
I mean, I like having sex with my wife. I don't. Anti-homosexuality. Like, does it mean homosexuality as in you don't like homosexuals, period, and they think that you think that they shouldn't exist, or?
That's such a weird.
Because that's homophobia is not even that. Homophobia is it's a phobia. It's an irrational fear of homosexuality. You know, that's different.
Let's see, where was I? Oh, sorry. Gail Rubin says that sex is used as a political agent as a means of implementing repression and creating dominance in today's Western society. A political agent. What?
I
don't even.
I don't even have a response to that. Keep going, unless you have responses.
It's not really.
Okay, moving
that
on.
statement just it strikes me as so nebulous.
Wrong?
I can't nebulously incorrect that I can't begin to point out where it's wrong. Stereotypes about fat chicks putting out more or fat men not being good in bed are not only an attempt to deny autonomy but also to control fat people through a sexual hierarchy. Well, we tried Reigns and those broke. Not only are these stereotypes harmful socially, but they are often internalized, causing people to think of themselves as unworthy of love or putting all of their self-worth in another person's hands. The myth that fat bodies are unlovable can shatter someone's self-esteem. The idea that fat is only a fetish is another attempt to other people who don't match society's beauty standards and to other those who want them. We must define ourselves and not put worth on what others think of us. One's self-image must come from within, not from other people.
Oh, there's so much within fat people that they can pull those from too. Look at the resources though. Relationships and fatties. Obesity is not a disease. Health at every size, messages for various people and professionals. Some fat facts regarding health. The failure of diets. Some thoughts on thin privilege. How did I know that some type of privilege was going to be in there? Doctor's office cards, helpful phrases for the doctor's office. Fat people in shitty media. And fat people of color. Creating community.
Fat.
Alright, let's go to the next page.
Spelled with 3 R's. Why? Notes.
Notes from a fatty. I'm fat. Okay. I came out of the womb at 10 pounds and have stayed a healthy, strong, and cuddly soft weight throughout my life. Okay, congratulations. I came out at 11. And I didn't.
Get wrecked, scrub.
Until I got to college, I didn't think about fat phobia. I thought fat-hating attitudes were just normal, scientific, even simply just right. And you would have been right. But fat phobia is prejudice, just like any other. Is it really a phobia when it's not irrational? It's a bunch of sucky assumptions, about people with no real interest in honest information. I mean, if you're right 99% of the time, is it really wrong to assume? Is it really? Here's a list of some misconceptions to watch out for. Do your homework. Respect the fatties in your life. Fuck you, no. Fat isn't okay. It's dirty, ugly, smelly, and gross. True.
Generally speaking.
Being fat is a choice. Fat people are too lazy and self-hating to be properly thin. Mostly true. Well, for most people, true. I will say that there are people who actually have thyroid problems that no matter what they do, they can't lose the weight. Our cultural, biological, and medical understanding of fat is reasonable, honest, and unbiased. That's actually 100% true. Fat isn't a choice any sane, healthy human should make. I agree with that. Violence against fat people isn't a hate crime. No, that's not. I don't know how to respond to that other than if you're being violent against a fat person simply because they're fat, it could be definitely a hate crime because you're doing it out of hate. Fat is a flaw, yes. You have such a pretty face, but that fat. I had to finish it. Inside every ugly fat person, a beautiful skinny person is just dying to get out. No, there's more like 3 or 4 of them. Cultural feelings about fat are the same across all races and ethnicities. Actually, no. What was it? I think it was back in the 80s and 90s that fat chicks were were considered really hot in Australia.
I
It's
did not
like the
know
80s and 90s? I don't know. Fatties can't just be. We should, can, and will want to change our bodies. Yeah, moving on from that one. Fat people, or anyone for that matter, want to hear, ooh, did you lose weight? Actually, I do want to hear that. I've been putting on a couple of pounds on the front end. As anything other than an expression of concern.
Why wouldn't they?
Female socialized fatties are taught to always, if nothing else, find one person in the room fatter than they are. I mean, if it works. Fat people want to lie about our weights. We want to lie for us too. Yes. Fatness is important. Weight matters. Yes. Fatties can't be, won't be, and aren't vegetarian vegan.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have never, ever met
We did
a vegan or a vegetarian.
See, okay, so we did a wedding over the summer where the bride claimed she was vegan and she came out to try some of the food she wanted on our menu. She was like 300 pounds. And it's like, you're not vegan. You're not fooling anybody. You're fucking not fooling anybody. So to say that a fat person can be vegan, well, that's a possibility, but if they've been doing it for a number of years and nothing's changed, well...
I've never met a fat vegan person.
Yeah, I think they're just lying to everyone to make themselves feel better.
Fat people eat differently than other people. Yes and no. The difference is that fat people eat more. It's okay to off.
To awe?
That's a typo. It's supposed to say laugh, I bet. It's okay to laugh at fat in appreciation of how it moves, feels, jiggles, looks, and is. Alright, have you ever seen really big titties?
Yeah.
That's fat. That's
Literally.
fat that's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So it's okay to be appreciative of how it feels and how it moves, jiggles, and looks. It is. But when you just see a tidal wave rolling across the front end of a Buick named Bertha, that's something you laugh at. Fat people should never appear on television in leading roles unless they provide comic relief or offer support as a sexless best friend.
That's not true.
Eh.
I can think of a few shows where I've seen fat
Jack
guy
Black.
As well, yeah. That's one example. I can't think some off the top of my head, but like...
John Candy.
Yeah.
Tommy Boy.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. You're hitting all...
Chris Farley, yeah, Chris Farley.
You're hitting all the good comics of the 90s.
I don't know about you, but
Well, I'm thinking
the
like...
fatter the comedian, generally the funnier they are.
Yeah. Look at fucking Chris Farley's bit with Matt Foley.
I want you to look up this guy. I want you to look up this guy named Bruce. His name is Bruce. 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 Fucking hilarious.
Shall we?
No, just look it up for later.
Stuff.
Fat people have to wear different clothes than normal people because their bodies are gross, not because the clothing industry refuses to take fat bodies seriously as cute, sexy, and normal. That's true. Fat bodies are not something a lot of people want to look at.
Yeah.
Fatties have to wear traditional sexy clothing to be sexy. Huh?
No.
How does that... How does that make sense? Images of fat phobia are absent in radical movements. Adbusters, anyone? I don't get the reference to that. Fat people are anything other than gorgeous, powerful, smart, radical, and sexy people. Okay, so I've met some really, really sexy women who are kind of just
Hefty.
gigantor.
Okay.
But it was really just more the attitude that they displayed and the lust that they had. They weren't afraid to go after what they wanted. And that's what made them sexy people. I was not interested because I was afraid of being suffocated or, death by snoo. Either way. Oh my god, let's not do the next one.
Let's not and say we did. Just holy shit,
As soon as I saw the menstrual cups, I knew what this was about.
Yeah,
Statement on fascism. I don't want to talk about it.
Fascism or fascism?
Fascism?
What?
Fascism. Face value. Yeah, it's fascism.
What the fuck is this?
Moving on. Autism in college settings. Okay. What the fuck is with this freaking...
A letter to jabberers and normies. Oh. Do we have
Jabberers
something?
and normies?
I'm just
So
looking at the-
you have to be autistic to not be a normie? Fuck you. Basic protest safety.
Don't protest. That
Yeah, don't riot. Just don't riot. You can protest, just don't riot. Let's go over these do's and don'ts for this. This actually might be interesting.
Yeah.
Do wear protective shoes that you can run in and clothing covering your skin to protect from exposure to weather and chemical weapons. Shower beforehand to get off any dead skin cells that chemicals can stick to. Bring a bandana soaked in apple cider vinegar. That doesn't work. Bring fresh clothes in a plastic bag in case yours gets canned. This is all about rioting.
Contaminated by chemical weapons. Are we preparing to march through the trenches of Verdun? What the fuck?
This isn't about protest safety. It's about riot safety. And that whole bandana soaked in apple cider vinegar lime juice is not... It doesn't work. It's not how that works. Bring any medications you may need, especially inhalers and insulin. Oh my god.
If you are on medication, you probably shouldn't be at a protest.
No, if you're on medication, you probably shouldn't be at a riot.
Fucking A.
Don't wear contact lenses. Contacts can trap chemicals in the eyes and cause severe pain. That's true. Don't wear earrings. Do tape over non-removable piercings. Don't wear natural fibers, cotton, wool, hemp, or fuzzy absorbent fibers. Okay. Don't wear tampons. Ew. Chemicals can be absorbed into tampons, causing toxic shock syndrome, or you can just remove the fucking tampon. Don't shave before a protest or wear oil-based skin products. Actually, that one's pretty true when it comes to riot gas.
Yeah.
CLS gas. I've been forced to stand in a gas chamber for 10 minutes with full, what's it called?
Like infiltration.
Fully undiluted CLS gas. It's basically a different form of tear gas.
Jesus.
It's not fun. And if you shave, it gets into your pores and it just makes it worse. Don't use amphetamines or other drugs, period. Treatment and aftercare. Holy fuck, this is not...
Radical self-care. Jesus Christ.
Holy crap, greed is the new red. What the hell is the green scare anyway? The green scare is a roundup strategy aimed at scaring the majority of radical activists away from effective dissent through the targeting of a few activists with draconian prison sentences. Similar tactic was used in the 1950s during the Cold War's Red Scare, where anyone remotely considered communist was targeted. We are seeing similar tactics applied to environmental and animal. Well, because they broke the fucking law.
Good name for this current wave of repression is Operation.
All of these people were arrested. All of these groups were arrested because they actively broke the fucking law. And they were repeat offenders, which is why they got the heavy prison sentences, because they were repeat offenders. That's how it works. You go to jail the first time for a certain amount of time, and then you commit the crime again. So guess what? You go to jail longer this time, just to make sure that the lesson gets ground into you. And then you break the law again when you get let out. You don't get a third chance after that. You go for a very long time after that.
Was it the ALF that was firebombing animal testing facilities? Or was that the ELF? I can't remember. One of them. One of them.
Let's see. Animal Liberation Front broke into a couple labs that were testing, using animals for testing, and released a bunch of infected animals into the local area. There was.
Oh, good.
I'm quoting from memory. I could absolutely be fucking wrong.
Well, that sounds right to
me. The animals were caught before they were able to spread infection to anybody. So basically, what they did. Do you remember watching the movie 28 Days Later?
I haven't seen that actually.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm serious.
All right. Watch 28 Days Later, or at least the first 15 minutes of it.
Okay.
If you don't want to watch it beyond that, I don't give a fuck. But because it gets the point across. What they did in 28 Days Later to cause what happened in 28 Days Later is exactly what Alf was doing.
GG. G fucking G.
Pretty much. Security Culture 101.
Security culture.
Know your rights. You have the constitutional right to remain silent. No shit. The only two exceptions to not answering questions are in some states you must provide your name if you are stopped and told to identify yourself. Yeah. You are not required to answer any other questions. Second, if you... Here's the thing. So if a police officer is asking you questions when you're walking down the street... If you're not doing something wrong, why would you not answer those questions?
Where was that? Which section was that? I'm looking.
So it's page 62, Know Your Rights. The first one is basically you have the right to remain silent. It's Miranda...
Right.
You cannot be punished for not speaking. You fucking can. It is smart to talk to a lawyer before answering any questions. Only a judge can order you to answer questions. Exactly. Actually, even a judge can't really order you to answer questions. You could be held in contempt of court, which would add to the sentence, but the only two exceptions to not answering questions are in some states you must provide your name. Actually, that should be, I'm pretty sure that's all states. If a police officer stops you and asks who you are and what you're doing there, you're pretty much required to talk to them. You are not required to answer any questions. But again, it just comes back to, if you're not doing anything wrong, why wouldn't you answer these questions?
Yeah.
They're just trying to make sure that you're not doing anything wrong. And if you refuse to answer those questions, then they are actually trained to arrest you. Because you're doing something suspicious. And they're arresting you on suspicion. Reasonable suspicion. Because you're refusing to talk to them, and that's fucking suspicious as shit. Again, I could be fucking wrong.
I wouldn't say you are. It's the same case with number 10. If you give consent to a search, officers do not need to get the court's permission to do a search.
True.
True, yes. Police may search your car, but only the area within reach and in containers that could conceivably contain a weapon. Not the Altoids and you have your weed stashed in. Oh,
No, they can search in that too.
yeah, they can. Smelling something is not grounds for a search, though a canine unit
Yes,
smelling something is.
Okay, so here's the thing. In Florida, this is actually a thing. They cannot hold you until they can get a canine unit out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The sheriff's department got in serious in my county got in serious fucking trouble because they were pulling over people and keeping them there when they haven't committed they all they've done is committed a freaking traffic offense. Like they sped a little bit or they made some kind of illegal maneuver and they were keeping them there until a canine unit could get there so they can actually sniff them. And then after the dog sniffed, they would signal the dog and the dog would actually start reacting. The dog didn't actually smell anything. The dog started reacting because the police officer told it to start reacting. They got in trouble for this. There was an investigation.
Yeah,
There were jobs lost.
rightly so.
They must have a warrant to look in the truck. Always say you do not consent to the search. If a
Unless-
police officer has probable cause and already under arrest, they can search your vehicle.
And it's like you were saying before, if you've done
If
nothing wrong,
if a police officer has probable cause, they can enter your domicile.
yeah,
If a police officer has probable cause, they can do whatever it is they are required to do to ensure that the safety of the public or whatever is there.
yeah,
It's like if they pull you over and they're searching you for weapons because they've arrested you because you're wanted, then guess what? They can look in that fucking tin. If law enforcement knocks on the door, do not open. Okay, that's kind of... You don't have to. If they say they have a warrant, then they don't have to slip it under the door. In fact, they can say we have a warrant, and if they have a warrant, they don't even have to let you open the door. They can open the door for you.
I've got all of these. Like if you do what this guide says, all of these constitute some sort of suspicious behavior, or almost all of them. It fucking.
I'm just fucking morons.
Enforcement can't get a warrant based on your refusal, nor can they punish you for refusing consent. I mean, if you tell them to get a warrant,
Then they're going to get a warrant.
yeah, they're gonna get.
And if they call a judge at 3 o'clock in the morning to get a warrant, that judge is going to give them the warrant because you pissed that judge off. Make, destroy banks. The gentrification of... Okay, so this whole thing is just a great big fucking rabbit hole that we went down, and we're now 20 minutes over time.
We're gonna have to come back to this.
Yeah, we will have to come back
Shit.
to this, ladies and gentlemen. We have the mission 1 and 2 for the next
Yeah.
for next Locked and Loaded. Anyways, we are going to have to go ahead and cut this down because I have to be awake in less than 6 hours.
Oh shit.
Y'all have been a great audience, and good night.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll see you on the next one.